Hello, everybody, and once again, I'm your host, Ian Parisi, head women's bowling coach at Malloy University, a member of the NCAA National Championships Committee for Women's Bowling. Today, I want to answer a very common question that I generally spend a lot of time on when I'm talking to recruits. And that is the question, what exactly is college bowling? You're going to hear a lot of terms and a lot of acronyms over the course of your recruiting process. So if you're a high school bowler, listen up. All right. So you're going to hear letters like NCAA, USBC, NJCAA, NAIA. You're going to hear terms like club team. You're going to hear terms like conferences. So what does all this mean? The goal of this video is for me to clear all this up for you guys. So first things first, let's explain governance structure. There are several different organizations that have their hands on college bowling. The biggest one you need to know about is the United States Bowling Congress, the USBC. I'm sure you've seen those letters before. That is the national governance for the sport of 10-pin bowling. They host a national championship for both men's and women's teams. And that is the most inclusive national championship in the country. If you've got a college bowling team and that team is registered with the United States Bowling Congress, then you can compete for points to get yourselves into an event called sectionals. So the way their postseason works is in March, there's an announcement regarding the top 80 men's teams and the top 64 women's teams nationally. Those teams are divided into 4 sections and in 4 locations across the country. Each of those teams subdivided compete for the top 4 spots. The top 4 teams from each section advance to try to compete for the national championship. This event also has a singles component. So the intercollegiate team championships, that's the USBC ITCs, and the intercollegiate singles championship, that's the USBC ISCs. Okay, you might see those letters or those terms. We're talking about the United States Bowling Congress's portion of college bowling, their national championship. Now let's get into my world, the NCAA. So separate and aside from the USBC, although we do fall under their jurisdiction for things like playing rules and just for registration, for governance, the NCAA has its own national championship. So you might see that broadcast on ESPNU, and that's held in a different location every year. Important distinction, there's no such thing as men's bowling in the NCAA. So you high schoolers out there, get this straight, okay? The NCAA is for women only. All 102 teams go through the course of their season, and at the end of the season, there are now 10 conferences in the NCAA that have automatic qualifiers. So this is where you can start thinking about things like March Madness, the college football playoff. Well, our world is pretty similar, but there's a couple of key differences. So in the NCAA for bowling, we're interdivisional, meaning that divisions 1, 2, and 3 in the NCAA all compete with each other. We're all chasing the same national championship. At the end of the year, the 10 automatic qualifiers, so there's 10 conferences whose champion is granted an automatic advancement into their postseason. The 10 of those teams go through. There will be 2 play-ins because there are also 8 teams selected at large by the National Championships Committee based on the data and the criteria that we put forth at the beginning of the year. Well, there's going to be a 16-team bracket, and 2 of those teams will have played themselves into the bracket, being that it's, instead of 8 AQs and 8 teams being selected at large, it's 10 AQs and 8 teams being selected at large. So the bottom 4 overall seeds end up having to play 2 play-ins in order to see who advances into the bracket. We see that in the March Madness tournament, right? There's a couple of games before the 64 teams start playing, so very, very, very similar. But that bracket of 16 is the same thing. It's a competition bracket. As of right now, that does go through a regional. So there are 4 regionals prior to the final 4 teams. So you have to win your regional in order to advance to the last stage of the national championship. And then the 4 teams on site at the national championship can compete for the big. The NJCAA. Well, those are the junior colleges. Their season tends to be, not all junior colleges do this, but the junior college portion of the season tends to be relegated to January, February, and the first weekend of March. The junior colleges do have their own national championship. So any of you out there that might be looking for a 2-year school, trying to save money on college, trying to stay close to home, or maybe you just want to study some type of vocation, but you need an associate's, there's an option out there for you to bowl in college. There are some wonderful junior college programs, and there are a couple of junior college programs that compete a little longer than just the junior college season. They participate in some of those USBC events. There's even a couple that find themselves ending up at sectionals. So if that's something that interests you as a high school bowler, make sure you take a look around. Just know that for many of those junior colleges, the season is a little more truncated, a little more condensed. For us in the NCAA, the season goes from October 1st is our official start date to the middle of April when the national championship is held. The USBC's national championship is typically right after the NCAA's, like a day or two after. Their season actually starts as early as mid-September. So coming up next week, we're actually going to have our first recap video. 4 more letters you might see in your recruiting journey. NAIA. Well, the NAIA in and of itself is kind of an alternate universe to the NCAA. So some schools, they tend to be located in the Midwest, the South, and the Southwest. Instead of being affiliated with the NCAA for any number of their sports, they're affiliated with the NAIA. Now, the NAIA does have bowling teams, and they are starting to organize some of their own conferences. They are growing. Many of the scholarship opportunities out there, especially the scholarship opportunities for men, will happen at NAIA programs. Although there are some club programs out there, that is schools that do not define bowling as a varsity sport, but they have a team that competes intercollegiately. Those are classified as clubs. There are some club teams, out there that might have some money or some perks to offer. That's going to be on an institutional basis. Whereas for the women, NCAA programs that are either classified as Division I or Division II are both scholarship eligible, or athletic related aid is the technical term. But you can get money for bowling at NCAA Division I and Division II schools. Because we are an intercollegiate sport, because we are an interdivisional sport. Divisions 1 and 2 both have the maximum allowable scholarship allocation available to them. So there's no actual distinction in theory between Divisions 1 and 2 when it comes to women's bowling. Now, does that play out like that in reality? Well, some Division 1 schools tend to have some more financial resources at their disposal. A lot of them also tend to be a little more expensive. So as a Division 2 coach, my advice to all of you, please look at the overall cost of attendance. Look at your academic package. Look at what you're getting athletically. Talk to everyone's financial aid office. When you've found a school that really works for you, make sure you get all of the information and make an informed decision. Because there's some wonderful opportunities out there. And, most of us that are coaching in Division II, historically a Division II team has won the NCAA national championship. So for anyone starting the recruiting process to discriminate against it because it's not D1, I advise against that, and for more than just selfish reasons. There's some great opportunities out there you might be passing up. But that being said, look at the overall cost of attendance, and most of all, look at the institution that's the best fit for you and your goals as a student. Anyway, that about wraps it up. If you guys have any further questions, hit the comment section below. Thanks for tuning in to BSI Network.